It's the voice of Indiana County, WCCS, AM 1160, 101.1 FM. Hey, look over there. That's Jim McQuown with us this morning from Aging Services, and he wears so many different hats. Good morning.
Good morning. It's good to see you, as always.
Yeah, it's good.
Long-time listener.
Back in the studio for us this morning. Hey, Scam Jam is coming up. This has become an annual event, hasn't it?
It's the sixth one. This is 6 years in a row, and I assume there'll be at least six more. It's down at KCAC at the large arena. It's next Tuesday. That's Tuesday, May 7th, from 10 o'clock until 2 o'clock. There will be, everybody likes this, there will be a free lunch.
There you go.
And even a continental breakfast, in addition to a lot of very interesting and informative speakers. This event, Todd, as you know, because we've done this a lot before, is co-sponsored always by the Indiana County District Attorney's Office and Aging Services Incorporated. It's been a successful event. We normally get about 200 people. It is geared primarily, but not exclusively, to the senior population, senior citizens.
The Scam Jam event was conceived because so many people can so easily fall victim to scams, and the problem doesn't abate at all because there are more and more scammers out there finding more and more ways to do what they do.
You know, I've been in a couple conversations recently, mostly listening to people, including like state police and local police. And I'm just stunned by the number of creative and innovative and despicable, though, scams that go on. And again, most of them, not all, most of them are targeted towards the elderly population. Yeah.
And now they've got technology behind them. They're able to mask who they really are simply by making their phone number look local when it really isn't. And it really becomes a terrible, terrible burden on families.
No, it really is, and it's something we all need to be sensitive to and aware of. You're right. They are extraordinarily good with technology, way better than me, probably better than you, and definitely better than my mom and a lot of the other seniors that live here in Indiana County. And people are going to learn about a lot of the different scams, how to recognize them, and what to do about them.
Well, that's one of the big things about Scam Jam. And events such as this is helping people to recognize what's coming. People always say, well, how could anyone fall for something as silly sounding as that? No one could ever fall for that. But they're getting inundated. And the scammers, they don't care who you are. They're just going to move on to the next potential victim. And that's one of the things people need to understand. They're not going to let up.
That's right. I mean, whether that's somebody down the street who might knock on your door and say that it looks to me like your roof needs some work, or whether it's someone sitting in a basement in Belarus on a computer. There's just a lot of people out there that are trying to take advantage of some of our most vulnerable citizens, and unfortunately, they have success a lot of times too.
All right, so this event coming up on Tuesday, who do we have coming?
Okay, we have a lot of people coming. Let me just run down the agenda here. First of all, I'm encouraging everybody who has an opportunity to come next Tuesday to attend. It is at KCAC. Please register, okay? The free lunches that I talked about, we have to order those, and we want to order pretty close to what the right number is. You can register by calling our office down at Aging Services at 724-349-4500. We're going to hear speakers talking about Project Lifesaver. Speaking of technology, it's not all geared towards scam, but it's almost all geared towards the senior population. Project Lifesaver, as you might know, is a technical device which helps keep track of, through a GPS arrangement, with people who might have dementia, Alzheimer's, or autism. It's a pretty important program if you know someone or someone in your family.
Someone who might wander off.
Absolutely right. We have somebody coming in from Harrisburg, a private person, happens to be an attorney. She's in her 60s. And she, through unfortunate circumstances in her family, and Todd, I'm sure you know this is happening a lot now too, she's having to raise her grandchildren now. She's in her 60s. I'm in my 60s. She's raising a 2 or 3 year old child. This happens a lot in Indiana County. This is a difficult thing. This is a hard thing, where people, frankly, in my age group, where I don't have the energy I used to. I've raised a couple kids, but I was in my 20s and 30s then. It's hard for me to imagine what they go through now, not just financially, but just maintaining the energy to raise young children and teenage children, which cause different issues.
To basically become moms and dads again when they're in the 60s and 70s.
Exactly.
You think back to the way it was when you were a younger man. And the way kids are today and the burdens and the responsibilities they have today, the various things they get involved in.
That's a hard job.
Yeah, it's hard for young people.
I have heard this woman speak. She tells a very compelling story about the challenges of grandparents and being a grandparent who raises young children at an older age. Yeah. And there's a lot of people here that I think would be interested in that story and can relate to that. Mm-hmm. After her, we have someone from our staff at Aging Services who is going to talk about a program that we've initiated this year. We do have a grandparenting program now at Aging Services. It's a small program, but we're very excited about it. It's, of course, an income-eligible program, but it can provide a lot of people with opportunities to get some support if they are in that situation where they're raising younger children, if they're over 60 years old, if they're grandparents. It might give them school supplies, for example. If they're school-age children, we can help perhaps with diapers or formula if they're even infant children. And even some respite and some peer information too. So it's a program we're very proud of. We've just started it this year. We're trying to get it off the ground, and we'll have somebody from our staff to talk about the eligibility and what services might be available for that program.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Maybe in the future we can have someone from the office come over and spend some time specifically talking about that.
That would be fantastic. We would absolutely love to do that.
Terrific.
Then there's someone from the United States Postal Inspector's Office who's going to talk about mail fraud. Now we're back into the scams and the fraud, which is really what we're talking about here is financial exploitation, again, directed primarily to seniors. She's going to give a presentation on what the United States Postal Service is trying to do to combat fraud through the Postal Service. After that, our friend Linda Wilson from InFirst Bank is going to talk about account ownership. I didn't know what that meant, so I stopped at the bank on the way up here, and Linda knows what she's talking about. And basically, it's going to as an older person, you might want to do some things with your accounts, with your children or families or others that may or may not be advisable. Mm-hmm. And so she's going to offer some advice on how to handle your own money, your own bank accounts.
Who has access, those sorts of things.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And just a responsible way to take a look at those kind of activities. Then Katie Abril Thomas, a local attorney, another good friend of ours, is going to give us talk about guardianships. She's an expert in this area. This is also an area where the courts get involved, where we often get involved, where people, frankly, at some point in their life might need someone else to help them with some basic life decisions. Yeah. And she's, again, a friend of ours. She's a good attorney, and she's an expert in that kind of law. And then we're going to talk about scams. The district attorney and someone from our office are going to talk about, let me just read down because I'm amazed. If you Google the type of scams that are out there, I just did that last night real quick. Sweepstakes scams, Jamaican lottery scam, malware scams on the computer, identity theft, Medicare scams. We got the new Medicare cards, grandparent scams, counterfeit prescription drugs, fake anti-aging products, which I hope you haven't fallen for that.
You can tell. Look at me.
Well, and even then, this just makes you want to sigh. Funeral expense and burial scams. So, and there's plenty more. There's just a lot of scams and a lot of evil activities out there where people are trying to take advantage of our seniors population.
I'm going to learn how to recognize the scam and most importantly, I think, the resources to turn to before you ever fall victim to it, because there are people out there who can tell you, is this legitimate or is it not?
Absolutely, that is correct, yes. Yeah. Okay. So it's going to be very informative, and it's going to be very interesting, too. And normally it's a lot of fun, and people generally enjoy the Scam Jams and those presentations. Mm-hmm. And we encourage we encourage everybody to come down. You don't have to be a senior to come down here, Todd. So even someone young like you can come down. And but please register to help us out a little bit. It's again 349-4500 Aging Services.
Yeah, one of the interesting things you just said, someone young can come. There was the report that came last week that said, for the first time ever, the most victims of scams now are men between the ages of 24 and 40, I believe it was. So they've actually passed senior citizens. Senior citizens are getting more savvy.
Oh, my goodness.
While the younger guys are falling victim more because they've grown to trust their devices.
I wonder if that's some of those romance scams that I've read about also.
There you go. Romance scams, Nigerian prince scams, all of those things. There will certainly be topics come Tuesday at the KCAC.
Tuesday at the KCA, 10 o'clock sharp. We're going to get the program started. Also want to throw this out to some local businesses. There will be door prizes also in addition to the breakfast and the lunch. And if there's any local businesses we haven't contacted yet who would like to offer something as a door prize, we'd be happy to take it. They can contact Diana at the DA's office at 724-465-3835. So really looking forward to it. I understand it's going to be a nice day. And hopefully we'll get a really nice attendance. We've already got over 100 people signed up. And believe me, it'll be informative.
Make the call today. Call Aging Services today and get that arrangement made so that you can be there. It's very, very important. Mr. McQuown, thanks so much. It's good to see you again.
It's always great to be back. Thanks.